I'm just going to show you a quick video. I'm Keishan Shah, and the way that's pronounced, Keishan, is the easiest way to remember my name. So I'm going to show you a quick video on Downsize Fitness.
It's nice to finally meet you, geez.
This is the first time 24-year-old Harold Smith has met Michael Cooney, but they know each other well. For months, Michael has trained Harold online through a program called Downsize at Home. Unable to leave the house, Harold says it was his only option.
I thought about suicide a lot.
He says at times since high school, he's left the house just once or twice a year.
People go out of their way to make anyone that's over maybe 250 pounds feel like they don't belong. So that's another reason why I stay at home. Why leave my safe house?
Today, though he still weighs about 500 pounds, he feels strong enough for his first trip ever to a gym, Downsize Fitness, which caters to people like Harold.
One day I caught myself in the mirror, and I was just so hurt that I let myself get like this.
And that day, about a year ago, led to this.
A year ago, you couldn't pay me to work out.
Yes, this is a gym, but Harold says it was also a social network. He had been feeling isolated by his weight, and then he started making friends online, and they chatted about everything, including weight loss. There's hard work ahead, Harold knows, but he looks to Chris Almaguer, who's literally lost hundreds of pounds, and his trainer, who's lost 60.
Being able to stand up for as long as we would need to in the shower, I can just now do that. A gym for people just like me.
And someday, like most people, Harold Smith hopes his weight won't stand in the way of a regular job.
I don't work yet. Hopefully soon, but not yet.
Nasita Kwan, NBC5 News.
So that's Harold, who is one of our online members and became one of our offline members. Harold has had a tough time. He was on his 5th suicide attempt last week. So this stuff matters, and it's important. So I'm excited to tell you about Downsize Fitness. I'm the CEO of the company. It's the world's first overweight-only gym. So in order to join, members have significant weight to lose. Basically, they're medically obese, so a BMI of over 30. We have 6 locations in the US and Canada, and our members have lost over 5,500 pounds in the last 2 years. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit more about my story, tell you how I got to the company, the market, the product, some competitors in the space, and some wonderful features that we're going to be launching. So I want to tell you a little bit more about my story. I was a 200-pound 12-year-old. I weighed 400 pounds when I was 19 years old. My father was 360 pounds. He had a gastric bypass. His dad passed away at 59 from a heart attack. My mother struggled with diabetes. Her father was blind for the last 10 years of his life due to complications related from diabetes. When I was 19 years old, things weren't going very well. I was going to have my right foot amputated due to a diabetic foot ulcer. And I was pretty much on the road to passing away myself. And I had a job interview. So of course, a suit, when you're that weight, that's the only time you want to wear a suit. A job interview, a wedding, or a funeral. And I had a job interview. So I went to the tailor, and he put his tape measure around my waist. And at the time, it was a 60-inch tape measure, right? A 5-foot tape measure. And my waist was 62 inches, and the tape measure didn't fit. But it wasn't, being 400 pounds or having a diabetic foot ulcer or any of that that caused me to change. And that was my aha moment. So since then, I've lost over 200 pounds through diet and exercise. I didn't have surgeries. I didn't have any sort of fad diets. I didn't have any sort of trainers either. And kind of just thought how to lose weight and how to think about how to live a healthier life. So since then, I've worked in management consulting in Dubai, investment banking in Chicago, and most recently, I was part of the private equity team at Goldman Sachs. I visited over 200 gyms in 30 countries in terms of how to think about the program for Downsize. And I had enough people saying, Keishan, you should do something in the space. You should try to help other people. And I kept listening to them. And I said, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. And then finally, I was lucky enough to meet with Michelle Obama through a program that Google did. And I sent them my weight loss story. And here I have First Lady Michelle Obama saying, Keishan, thank you for being an inspiration to Americans everywhere and living happier and healthier lives. And then I said finally, okay, now I definitely need to do something in this space. So I'm working in New York at the time, and I thought about what's going on in the fitness industry. And it made no sense. It's For men, you need to have abs, a six-pack, a bigger chest, bigger guns, right? And for women, it's get a healthier butt and six-pack abs as well. And it made no sense to me because this stuff is just recycled over and over and over again. But I didn't think that, looking like Matt Damon or Uma Thurman was what I needed to focus on. It was really this, and that is the U.S. has a 36% obesity rate. And we're talking about $200 billion of annual costs. And Obamacare, ACA, is making this now the forefront of the healthcare system. So I also noticed that me being in New York at the time, my brother being out here in San Francisco, this problem wasn't really dedicated to the coast. This was much more of a middle America and southern issue as well. But those obesity rates are rising throughout different parts of the country. But truthfully, when you are significantly overweight, you have 100 pounds to lose, you're not thinking about a lot of the great technology that's out there. You're thinking about these 4 products. And the first one, I'll just tell it, it's a company called Sensa. Sensa is a powder that you sprinkle onto your food, and you're supposed to lose weight. Do you know that company does $250 million a year in revenue? Right, for a powder that you sprinkle onto your food and you're supposed to lose weight. Medical weight loss clinics. So no one really bats an eye as to what a medical weight loss clinic is because the term medical is in there. But they're clinics where someone goes, you meet with a physician, and it's not a PCP, a primary care physician, it's any type of doctor. And you meet with a nurse practitioner then, and they say, hey, we're going to inject you with B12 supplements. So if you've seen Mad Men, one episode, they have energy shots and they're up the entire weekend. It's something similar there. It's a prescription-grade appetite suppressant where you eat less than 900 calories a day and you lose weight. And these places charge $500 a month. And they're sprouting up like weeds. Most recently, I was in Dallas and I saw 150 medical weight loss clinics within a 10-mile radius. Again, the only reason someone would ever do this is because they're desperate. Not because they believe in a prescription-grade vitamin B12 shot, because they are desperate. And they are like Harold, who was on the verge, who committed or attempted suicide 5 times. Bariatric centers, weight loss surgery. So my father had weight loss surgery. The weight loss surgery regain rate is close to 50%. So someone has surgery and they think that they're going to be able to change their life for the best and it's happily ever after. But unfortunately, that's not the case. 50% of patients regain weight after weight loss surgery, my father being one of them. Surgery is effective. It's a tool when used right. But unfortunately, everyone thinks that that's the full solution. And today, the average bariatric surgeon spends about 25 minutes with his patients 6 months post-op. The other piece being prepackaged diet food. That's from a company called Medifast. What they offer are 5 prepackaged meals a day that are under 100 calories each. Now, when you're eating prepackaged food that's under 100 calories each, it's not really real food. It's a lot of chemicals. But that company does $400 million a year in revenue, right? So we thought about what type of product we wanted to create and who we wanted to be. And we recruited a staff that had weight loss transformations themselves. And the company was actually started by a hedge fund manager who lost 70 pounds himself. And that was almost like an Andreessen Horowitz model to the gym business where it was, we were entrepreneurs, we've done this ourselves, and now we're looking to help you. And Downsize Fitness was born. So the way our program works is that there's 3 key pieces, and these 3 pieces are important because these 3 pieces will also be reimbursed via Medicaid in the country. So 1, we have dedicated weight loss fitness classes where there is a modification for every exercise. So like Harold, if you're not able to do a full lunge, right, you can just do a simple lean forward and be in the same class. We also unbundle personal training just because personal training is at least $60 an hour, and it's frankly just not fair to someone to charge them that much money, and especially when the gym is taking most of the margin there. In terms of nutrition, we've hired a chief medical advisor. He's kind of like a Doogie Howser. He graduated Northwestern Med School at 22. And he's been practicing for the last 15 years and has helped his patients lose 80,000 pounds. We thought about insourcing or outsourcing nutrition. So we've thought about getting RDs, registered dietitians, and nutritionists. And it seems that our clients were much more happy with having the person they were sweating along with in the workouts and people that had lost weight themselves and knew what it take to get there, rather than a doctor telling them what to do. We always think about the difference of showing someone what to do rather than telling them what to do. And the last piece being weight loss counseling. No one gets to 400 pounds because they ate a couple of extra bags of potato chips or missed a few gym sessions. There's a ton of deep psychological issues that are required here to be successful. And in terms of the overall gym business, so if you go on our website, you'll see a couple of blog entries that I've written. I am a big proponent of changing the gym business for the better. And I almost think about it like the nightclub industry. It's like you have a bouncer and hoping that people don't show up. That's how I think about the gym business. So what if there was like a Zappos of gyms where there was world-class customer service and the gym actually wanted you to show up and didn't make money by selling memberships and overcrowding? Or fitness training that wasn't like expensive personal training, right? And not cluttered equipment everywhere, because guess what? No one's gonna actually be successful long-term because there's a ton of fitness equipment. It's much more around a small group of classes and a community that you can depend on and a trainer that cares about you. And also a contract structure that's not more complicated than an apartment rental agreement where I have a security deposit last month, first month up front, breakout clauses, cancellation fees. We keep it simple, but also a boon to our business is that it's almost like enterprise software. We do 6-month and 12-month. We never shy away from the fact that this is not a 2-week program. This will take a long time, and that's okay because we want people to be healthy and sustainable. And in the video, you were able to meet Chris. So Chris came to us and was 547 pounds. He could not walk a single block without stopping. We put him on a treadmill at 0.4 miles, 0.4 miles per hour. He couldn't keep up. To date, Chris has lost over 270 pounds. He now rides his bicycle 25 miles a day, and through our charity, Downsize for Life, which is a registered 501c3, he is now gearing up for a bike ride where he's going to ride his bicycle from San Francisco to Los Angeles, to Las Vegas, to Dallas, to Chicago, to Washington, D.C., to Maine, in order to raise funds for our charity. And if that doesn't show you that we've changed someone's life and saved a man from dying, you know, I don't know what else can. So there's 2 key features that we want to talk about today. And Gina, if you could give a mic quickly over to Jacqueline and Angela. So we've been lucky enough to meet the team over at Google. They have a wonderful product called Helpouts, which allows web-based video conferencing. And first off, I'm just going to let Jacqueline and Angela introduce themselves from Google.
Hi, so I'm Jacqueline Rice. I work on the Helpouts team, and I actually manage the category for fitness and nutrition. So working with amazing partners who are really looking to help people and to connect with them and reduce barriers to doing that. So to actually meet with them virtually and really facilitate those connections in a more meaningful way.
And I'm Angela. Oh my gosh. I'm an account manager on the Helpouts team, working very closely with Jacqueline on the fitness and nutrition category. My role is really working closely with our partners, getting them everything they need, getting them trained, getting them ready to launch on our platform, hearing their feedback, since again it's the early days, so we're all about improving and hearing feedback from our users, and also helping them improve and making this a bigger core part of their business.
Thank you. Yeah, so Helpout has been absolutely phenomenal for us. You think about different apps and different technologies, but the issue is just staying power with the user. Do I think that the user is going to be able to continue to be on point and engaged over a year and a half? And I do truly believe that Helpout can do that, and it has, in different instances through Hangout, helped us over the last year. And we're going to continue to build on this product, and there's going to be a bunch of new features that we'll be launching over the next month. But having these physical presences to train people online, we've gotten thousands of people contacting us. I am in Pittsburgh, put a Downsize Fitness here. I am in Saudi Arabia, put a Downsize Fitness here. I am in Thailand, put a Downsize Fitness here. Also, in terms of the gym business, there are a few things that we'll never get away from. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. are generally slow at any gym, and we're actually able to utilize our staff much more efficiently and have them train people over the web. Additionally, you think about any gym, it's that 15-minute window, right? So being able to train outside of that. So if you know anyone that is struggling with their weight, it's probably one of the most difficult conversations you can have with someone. Definitely refer them over to our Help Out program. But we've also gotten 130 inbound franchise inquiries in the last 6 weeks. I just came over from New Orleans at the International Franchising Association conference, and the sentiment there is that we're going to be 1,000 gyms in 5 years, which I hope we can get there. But there will be a Downsize Fitness in California very soon and across the world. So if you know anyone that's interested in partnering with us, we'd love to speak with them. But for the meantime, we're happy to just make the world a better, happier, and healthier place. So if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Give it up for Keyshawn. Keyshin. I got it right this time. Sorry about that. Shin. Keyshin, right. Questions? Who's got them? Tell us a little bit about your revenue model. You were sort of suggesting that it's mostly a franchise strategy. Is that sort of like is it a network, or are there some elements of the business that are kind of run entirely in-house?
So what's really funny is that I come from Goldman, right, from the private equity background. My brother works at Sequoia, and he comes from very much of an internet tech background. So we were debating, okay, does one want to play, for cash flow, or does one want to play for internet equity upside? And I am a cash flow fan. So having a network of facilities that are cash flow positive, where we're generating real change across the world in physical presences, is much more appealing to me. Plus unit level economics for bringing on a franchisee. Some of the people that have tapped us for opening up franchises are professional athletes, physicians, and some celebrities as well. So it's exciting to be able to change the world and have something that's actually generating profits.
Other questions? I know you got them. Over here. I'll hold it.
So how much does it cost like a customer? So like I think you mentioned Chris or these guys who come in. Is it the 6-month fee, and then there's other side stuff you guys sell them to? But what's the main, I guess, revenue from them, the customers?
So we are running on just a simple per class model, and then we do memberships based upon a discounted per rate. So let's say if I come one class, one session, it's only $19 versus personal training, which is at least $60 an hour. And then we just build memberships off that. So if someone comes 10 sessions a month, it's $15 a class, or $150 a month. If they do unlimited, it's about $229. And that's done in a 6-month or a 12-month contract with discounts on each. But there's also interesting features in our contracts, like retention incentives. So if someone has lost a significant amount of weight, we clearly don't want to kick them out, because that's probably the dumbest thing we can do to enhance our community and their weight loss. I mean, since losing 200 pounds, I can tell you, it's not a straight line that you just lose a bunch of weight. It's a very jagged path, right? So we want to make sure that we incentivize those members to stay, whether that's through a financial incentive or kind of bringing like a member mayor feature to our gyms where they're responsible for community events. We also contribute towards them doing races and events in the community and doing wearing a Downsize Fitness t-shirt and having social media campaigns based upon that. So it's a way to just bring the entire Downsize Fitness network into the community.
While I pass this over, sorry if I'm about to steal your question, tell us about how your program plays into the new healthcare law under Obamacare. Are any of these services reimbursable? Basically about access, right? Because some of what you're talking about is diet, and we know about the correlation between lower income people and higher rates of obesity and higher rates of diabetes.
Yeah, so in terms of reimbursement, we're able to get fully reimbursable memberships in Canada, which is a really big deal. So now we can open a network of these centers and have them paid for by the government. In the US, the reason fitness, nutrition, and weight loss counseling is important is that we're able to get those services reimbursed by Medicaid at some point. In terms of how this flows into healthcare costs, everyone now is looking at obesity because the American Medical Association has deemed obesity to be a disease. So the reimbursement potential there is much greater.
I was just wondering, so remind me again, the video, what was the gentleman's name?
Excuse me?
Harold, how
Yeah.
many Harolds are there in the United States?
So I would say he's on the more extreme end.
Right.
But 36% of the population is deemed to be obese.
Okay, so, but I mean more like in the 18 to 35. Like, do you have a breakdown in terms of like 13 to 18, 18 to 35? Those
Yeah,
kind of two?
so as men become wealthier, they become more obese. As women become wealthier, they actually become skinnier.
I'm just wondering about raw numbers, like how
but it-
many millions or
But
hundreds of thousands.
you're
or-
talking about from the BMI over 50 crowd, probably about 20 million people in the U.S.
20 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
And which are all clustered, by the way, in the South and the
sure,
Midwest.
Sure. Okay, but relatively speaking, 20 million people that you could make that kind of difference for.
Exactly.
And then for you personally, do you have a sense of how much it cost you in real dollars to get to where you are now?
In terms of the actual company.
Changing your lifestyle, right? And the kind of training that you got and
Yeah, so I think there's a quantitative answer that I could drive to, but the issue is that you look at what's in the competitive marketplace. People are that desperate that they're willing to inject themselves with vitamin B12 shots for $500 a month, and also with Medifast and other nutritional systems. But generally, I mean, our memberships are no more than $200 a month. So lifetime value on our customers, they stay on average for a year and a half from what we've seen. So our attrition rates are significantly lower than other gyms. So it's several $1,000s, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm on this path for the rest of my life. So all of my food and activity for the rest of my life is going to be driven by gyms that I go to and high quality nutritional food.
So what will you do when your clients lose the weight? Are you going to then evict them from going to the gym?
Absolutely not. So we don't kick them out. Additionally, to lose a significant amount of weight takes at least 12 months, right? So we're able to get, if you comp us relative to the gym industry, we're able to have much lower attrition rates. Gym industry traditionally runs about 40%. We run at less than 10%. And then with the retention incentives that we do, where financial discounts on pricing, then thinking about also different features within the membership that we unlock, we're able to keep customers for a lot longer, and that customer lifetime value is several $1,000s then.
So you're offering membership either going to the gym or online as well?
Yes, so there is an online membership that's exclusively online, and then the members in the gym actually use the online membership as well. So let's say in Chicago or a day like today where it's raining outside, if you can't make it to the gym, you're still able to take a class online and be part of that community.
But if you have a franchise, for example, and the people in that country where the franchise decide to be solely online, how is all that going to work?
So the online program will be run separately from the franchise program. We're also launching a certification, so a Downsize Fitness certification for trainers. One, to ensure that whenever we do have a franchise, that people are properly trained. Two, to onboard more trainers that we can use onto the Helpout platform.
Keyshawn, we don't have any additional lights in here. Do you mind stepping just a little bit to your left?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, great talk. It's really inspiring. I had a quick question. What's your outreach strategy? Because I think a huge part is admitting that this is a problem, and like normal gyms have a big marketing strategy. And maybe a little different here. Would love to hear about what your outreach strategy in terms of acquiring customers.
So I could boil it down to pretty much, paid search, organic search, PR, right? But truthfully, and then other types of advertising. But truthfully, what goes the hardest for us are just member referrals. So it's funny how many lead referrals I find during the holidays, because it's someone seeing a family member that they haven't seen for the year, and they've dropped 50 or 70 pounds, and it's like, what just happened to you? And I want to get whatever you're on. Friend-to-friend, family-to-friend referrals are our highest source of volume.
I was wondering how you find, vet, and retain both nutritionists and trainers, or what sort of plan you have for that.
So they're certified under the traditional fitness certification organizations, but we'll also be launching our own certification as well. That way we'll be able to have an additional revenue center and be able to make sure that, especially on a franchising basis, that people are up to snuff.
Yeah, so the franchises are responsible for recruiting the staff in their individual locations?
No, the franchisee would be.
Yeah. Other questions? Over here? Last one, because we lost all the light. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm curious if you're focused on the personal trainers at all as well. Is there like any economic incentive for them to choose like a Downsize Fitness gym versus an LA Fitness or something?
I think the quality of the concept, and anyone that's been through a significant weight loss transformation can attest to this. Anyone that's lost a significant amount of weight, and 95% of our staff has. Additionally, some of our staff now are former members that were joined to Downsize Fitness, lost weight, became certified, and now teach at our gyms. So having that organic model. But in terms of incentivizing trainers, there are commission structures and everything, and bonus plans and comp plans to keep them incentivized.
Talk about your growth. Oh, sorry. How much have you been growing? How quickly? And where do you see the company in 5 years, let's say?
Over 1.5x each year on top line. All gyms are profitable. And then we're going to do probably another 25 centers this year with a capacity of 500 centers in 4 to 5 years.
So how much are the franchises going to cost, or do they cost?
It depends. Legally, I'm not able to say in the state of California because we're not registered here.
All right, for Texas. No?
I went to the IFA, and I was told by every lawyer that I cannot say in the state of California when you're not registered, because California has the most litigious franchise laws. So one of the things I'm learning about, because I'm new to franchising, are the legal aspects of franchising. So it's very, very dicey, but what ends up working out really well for us is that there are certain things called business opportunity states where the laws are pro-franchisor. It just so happens, by the grace of God, that the states are orange and red are actually pro-franchisor law states.
Okay.
So those are the types of things that I just can't make up.
Okay.
Okay, really last question.
Can you explain a little bit specifically on the online teaching component? And the reason for that is because I'm building a company to promote their health benefit of music and dance using technology and specific focus on patients. We're starting with cancer patients, but dance is also very helpful for diabetes, people with overweight.
Yep. So all the comorbidities there. So the online classes, right now, they're in VIP beta. Eventually, they'll go over to, much more being able to replicate the experience of a Downsize Fitness, where there are scheduled classes and all these other features. But the goal is to fully bring the experience of going to a Downsize Fitness online. And a lot of gyms right now are focusing on pre-recorded content. And frankly, that will all go to zero at some point, because there's enough companies like Daily Burn that are marketing on TV and doing $9.99 a month. But the level of human interaction that is required to make someone successful in this does require, seeing someone day to day and having that level of human, care. And because of the modifications that we do in every exercise, having a nutritional program that is flexible, and then weight loss counseling, it all has to be done live, which I think the franchising process does provide scalability to what we're doing there. But it will never be something where you can just simply say it'll be a linear function and like any other traditional SaaS business.
Keishan Shaw, Downsize Fitness. Thanks so much.
Thanks.